Hello, here we are. We're back with another classroom matchup debate. We have two teams of 7th graders we're going to introduce in a moment. I have 3 questions for them plus a bonus question. And we're going to see if they can win the card and the point, and then eventually the game. And this is all just for fun. Plus it's subjective, so I'm the only one deciding. All right, let's introduce our teams today. Over here, my right, your left, we have Deyaan and Ashmit, and they are team green beans. And on my left, your right, we've got Trisha and Mwanashe, and they are team purple leopards. Yep, another purple. We have a lot of colors that happen. Green beans and leopards over here. All right, we did a coin toss before the video started, and the winner of the coin toss was the green beans. So that means they get the first card, and they have an option to take that question or pass. Here's our first question. Our first topic is overwhelm. It's a big word I couldn't put on the card very well. Overwhelm. All right, consider not just mental health, but also social health. Consider social activities in particular. Do you think teenagers are more or less overwhelmed than previous generations? Do you think our current middle schoolers and teenagers in general are more overwhelmed or less overwhelmed than the past? Green beans, you can take that question first, or you can pass it. What are you thinking?
Let's take it.
All right, so think about social activities, agenda, packed days. Are 7th graders and teenagers overwhelmed more or less than the past? Who's up, Dan?
Yeah,
Go for it.
I would say it's around the same, maybe slightly less, because now of our dependence on technology and actually no, I take that back. Maybe a little bit more because with back then in past generations we didn't have computers to tell us our tests. Like we had to wait while us immediately figuring out the test score if we like on Google Forms or something. So and that would leave us with some being overwhelmed. Like, oh, I got such a bad score. And also because it's not that much of a thing because even physical activities like playing sports and stuff, your physical fitness, how your skill, that kind of stuff, that could really leave you over. Like people think bad about you and different kinds of things people say to you that might leave some bad thoughts in your head.
Sure. So overwhelm, you're taking the side that says teenagers right now are more overwhelmed than the past.
Yes.
Now obviously we're just making a guess, right? We didn't live in past generations. I mean, I did, but you're making a guess on what you've heard from history or what your parents or guardians have mentioned. But that's a good start from Deyaan. Ashmit, anything to add? Do you think right now you're more overwhelmed or less?
So I would agree with Deyaan about the technology thing. Like teenagers are overwhelmed because they are mostly nowadays they're more into screens and stuff. So same with the the sports thing or school thing, they would be worried because they don't have mentality strength to get them through a question on a quiz or something. And sports, your physical movements, you're gonna be drowning and then you won't be able to process.
Mm-hmm. Do teenagers right now in our era, do they have a lot going on day to day? Are their schedules packed?
Yeah, they are. It's hard to fit a lot of things because a lot of my friends, they have packed schedules and they can't really get their homework on time and stuff.
Hey, that's a great start from green beans. All right, that's going to be tough to follow up. Sometimes there's a benefit in going first. Sometimes there's a benefit in going second. We're going to pass it over. All right, our purple leopards. Who's up, Trisha or Mwanashe?
Me. So I actually agree with you guys that there is more pressure because with social media and everything, you're more pressured to either keep posting or you feel as though with sometimes it's addicting and you keep on scrolling and scrolling, or you feel pressured to subscribe to things if you see a video. And then I also have to say, even with, you can tell with popularity and stuff nowadays, I've gone to my old elementary school and you've seen the kindergartners back when I was in elementary school, not that long ago. Kids were wearing whatever they wanted, unicorn shirts and stuff. But now the kindergartners are all dressing like they're older. So kids are kind of growing up faster now. I think that's adding more pressure.
I wonder if if older people would say the same about you, that you're dressing as if you're older and there's pressures to look or grow up quickly. All right, that's solid, Mwanashe. Good follow up to the green beans. Trisha, what else are you thinking?
I was gonna say something very similar to Mwanashe. I think social media has been like a lot of people are now just on their phones. Phones has become, and not just phones, any like technology, any screens has become a big part of people's lives now. And now we're always on the screens. We always need something to do, and sometimes that social media and pressure can cause us to be overwhelmed. And also, yes, we have like now like popularity, what you said too. People are always trying to live up to popularity, trying to be popular. So we are always feeling overwhelmed sometimes.
Do you suppose each generation would say they were overwhelmed? Do you think your parents and guardians would say they had their own unique challenges?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any final thoughts before we give the card away? Anything else you thought of that you want to say? Is this generation of teenagers more overwhelmed? Specifically think like, how's their social schedule? And does that contribute to mental stress? Just giving you an extra opportunity if you wanted to say anything
I
else.
do have something
Yeah, go ahead,
to say.
Trisha.
I feel like older generations did have like a lot more like studies and overwhelming stuff too, but these generations, colleges have high expectations, and students are always trying to find ways to get into those good colleges. That also causes people to be overwhelmed with tests and struggles with what college to get into, what your career will be later in life. And now I feel like teenagers are thinking about that more ahead in the future, whereas in like older generations, they thought of that like maybe coming up to high school, but now people are thinking about this like in middle school.
Sure.
I wanted to add on to what Trisha was saying, and so that's my own, that sometimes like with your social life and stuff, some kids have a lot more sports than maybe the kids back when my parents had. And so sometimes it's just parents trying to live vicariously through their children, giving them more things to do, and that makes it harder to complete your homework assignments. And when your grades are failing, you get like kind of stressed, and it makes it harder for you to act normal in a social setting or in class.
Do you get class time to do homework?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Is there a lot to take home?
Yes.
We do have a lot of pressure at home.
It might depend, right? It depends on if somebody is in what we would call our advanced placement classes. We have a different term for it here at this school, but you know, like honors style classes. Is there more homework in somebody that's in PA versus someone that's not? Is there a chance to do work at school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that help?
Well, your social life,
Sometimes.
usually people don't do it because they're having to talk to their friends and they want to keep their social life going as well as
And also because teenagers at this point in life, they want to try to make everything like the easiest they can possibly do, so teenagers can do the least amount of work they could possibly do.
Yeah, like a lot of people are playing games now instead of working on their homework and talking to friends, and then we have more homework and we usually procrastinate it and put it
to the side.
So some of the stereotypes about teenagers are true no matter what era or generation. Anything else, Ashmit, before we close this out? It's okay if not.
No.
Okay, that's fine. We're gonna give this card to our green beans team. Here's why. They've been waiting to do this debate for weeks and weeks and weeks. We have to give them the first card because they've been so patient in finally getting in here and getting this going. That might be the wrong choice, we're gonna find out. But I thought Deyaan had a great start, even though the ladies may have won that first point at home. We'll see what people say. Was it Mwanashe or Trisha, the Leopards over here? Nonetheless, 1-0 green beans going into question number 2. So we'll see what we have here. And our first option is over here with the ladies, the Jaguars. This one is all about conflict. We're talking social conflict. I want you to think about, well, first of all, does conflict occur
Yes.
in middle school? And so if you're saying, yes, it does, that's a disagreement between people, right? Okay, so here's the question. Is it better to stand up for what you believe in? Or is it more important to just keep the peace? Now we're talking about friends, but also just other peers, other classmates. Is it better to stand up for what you truly believe in, or is it okay to just not even involve yourself in the conflict and just simply keep the peace or ignore it? Do you understand where I'm going with this question? You can take the either or. You can also go in the middle. It's fine to say I don't have either stance today. All right, ladies, you're up. Mwanashe or Trisha? Conflict. What are your thoughts?
Okay. I think it honestly depends on who's involved, because if it's you are involved with this, you should stand up for yourself, because if you don't, like, it'll always get larger and you're not going to be able to stand up for yourself later in the future. You should always do that. And even if it's for your friends, because you should always stand up for your friends if they can't stand up for themselves, or just support them. But I feel like if it's somebody like that's peer, you should still support them, but I don't think you should get too much involved, because it could also impact your mental and social health getting involved if it's really serious.
Good point. Makes sense to me. So, Mwanashe, is it better to stand up for your beliefs or keep the peace? Could somebody be seen as an instigator too if they involve themselves? Go ahead, Mwanashe.
So I kind of agree with Trisha. It really depends on the circumstance. If it's not your place, you probably shouldn't say anything. But if someone's coming at you and asking what you believe, or if you feel as though you're hurt in some way, then it's definitely better to stand up for what you believe in. Like the other day, Mom was talking to me about my family's values and how I was supposed to go to something and I couldn't because I couldn't invite a certain person. And she was saying that our family's values are to include everybody we can, and I have to put that person first before. So even though I might be really sad about it, I have to support how my family feels about it.
Yeah. So that is involving your belief system, your values. So it sounds like you're kind of both leaning towards, stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of just, whatever I said, keeping the peace. That makes sense? Or not involving yourself.
Sometimes that just makes it
Yeah,
worse.
because then it never changes. Like, if you want a change for the better, you should always stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Staying to the side doesn't help anyone.
Even if it makes more conflict? More of an argument?
Because it's worth it at the end.
Sometimes you can resolve the argument if you both just compromise, but it really depends on the argument.
Yeah.
Sometimes a compromise isn't worth it.
Do compromises happen? Do arguments happen? Does
Yes.
conflict
It
happen?
always happens.
Okay, we're gonna pass it to the green beans and then we'll open it up to final thoughts. That's a great start over here by the wait, what did I call you?
Leopards.
The leopards. Almost said jaguars. All right, green beans. Conflict, go ahead.
So I would agree with the pink leopards. Like when purple leopards. That when there's like a fight or something going on with like beliefs, like I would stand up for myself. But like when you're not in like your particular zone, then you should just like keep quiet, stay in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't want it to like get caught in a fight that like you can't battle, because like if you like
That makes sense. Ashmit, that's making sense to me. You don't need to unnecessarily involve yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a solid point. We'll come back to you if you think of some other stuff. Good start, Ashmit. Deyaan.
So I would say it's more of a mixture, because like it's like 50-50, because when it's something that's like that you hold values, like religious beliefs and stuff, then obviously you should stand up for what you believe. But if it's something that's a lot less important and yet you still stand up, that could it has a chance of making the conflict even worse or resolving the conflict. And it's like, but in like compromises are very hard to make as teenagers, because we always want to win the argument. We don't want it to be a tie or to lose. So I would say it's a mixture.
Yeah, you can take the middle stance. It seems like this side over here is saying it's okay to keep the peace, but it depends. It totally depends on the scenario. It's not fair to say one or the other. Anything that came up that you were thinking of that you wanted to add while somebody else was talking?
I was gonna say that you kind of have to pick your battles with conflict, and then you can't grow without conflict. Sometimes it's good to have like a healthy argument or to stand up for what you believe, but sometimes it could just make things worse. So like you have to pick your battles.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Like a protest, honestly. If there was a protest, I would not join, even if I agreed with what they're protesting.
Oh, really?
Because it could, I mean, if it's a peaceful protest, sure. But if it's something that could harm or cause more conflict, I would stay out of it, because I don't want to get involved in something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't tend to have riots at school, but we might have a walkout. Sometimes a walkout is organized. It's happened in our school history. All right, good additions. Anything else? Final thoughts on conflict?
So like when you're like a religious person and like a bully is like saying otherwise, you sometimes you would feel like really hurt and you would want to stand up for yourself. So like us teenagers, we would want to like get like into that fight and we would want to win it because like we wouldn't want to be put down by those bullies. And but even in doing us winning those fights, we could be hurting ourselves, like our own religious beliefs. So it just depends on.
Yeah, it does. It does depend. Good extra thoughts there, Ashmit. Deyaan, anything else?
No, not really.
We're gonna give this card over here to our ladies. We're gonna give conflict over here. And I think the reason that this is going over to the purple leopards is Mwanashe is a quick, specific example. I kind of like that. I like the example. Those might be flipped, in all honesty. Maybe conflict should have gone here, overwhelm over here. But we're going to tie it up going into our third question, fair or not. So we're going to award the point and the card over there to our, I got to remember again, purple leopards. Yeah. The third card is always about health class. Health class question, first up is for the green beans. You can take this or you can pass if you want to think about it a little bit more. Let's take some of these concepts we just talked about, overwhelm, conflict. Let's think about health class. You've been through health class. We're almost done with our health class quarter over here. So the question is, does health class need more lessons on friendship and conflict resolution? Or do we practice enough of this when we do a lot of our small group work? Because we do turn and talk quite a bit, and we do some works in smaller groups, like 2s, 3s, 4s. Is that good to build friendship, or should we be doing more? And then also specifically think about the last question too, conflict. Do we need more conflict lessons in health class, or do I do enough? You get the question? You want it first?
Yeah, we'll take it.
Okay, Deyaan.
So I think that what we do is just fine because back in elementary school, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, we for a lot of the SEL lessons we used to do, it was all about conflict, compromise and stuff. So with us already learning that, we don't really need any much more else. And with what we already do, the shift groups that already really helps our social health. And also sometimes we would like just take breaks, like you would say like work on our social health, like talk to each other. So I think that like now because we're older, we need like much more smaller things to help us learn with social health. And I don't think conflict stuff, we don't really need to touch on that. We want to at least like do a little small lesson on it, but I wouldn't say we need to like fully grab it because that's our, like what I said previously, it's all we learn most of that stuff in elementary school.
Yeah, so you've had some history with it. And you think we do enough? Yeah, now it's not gonna hurt my feelings if you're like, nah, we need more. That's why I asked the question. So it's okay to take both stances or either. Deyaan, nice start. Ashmit?
So in health class, like I'd say like in 6th grade, we would follow up like need more good relationships with friends because like you know like at like the beginning of the year and stuff, how we like get to like choose our seats next to our friends. You know, sometimes like we don't get to sit right next to our friends but close to our friends. So maybe like the random person, like example Deyaan, like if I didn't know him, I would want to like talk with him more and stuff, get to know him better, because like I might not always know him as well. So if we had more, I could like get to know like a lot about him and be like good friends with him.
Yeah, so you enjoyed the small group work. You think we could do even more?
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
could more.
maybe even by 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. All right, green beans. Anything else before we pass it over?
No.
Nicely done on health class. All right, Mwanashe or Trisha?
Okay. I think we could do more because there are a lot of instances that I've seen just be a social health disaster. Like with last year when all the 6th graders crowded the 5th graders by the doors, that was a social health and discipline problem where you kind of no one had the difference to learn between what might be good for your social health because everyone's like, oh my gosh, they're so cool, they stormed the 5th graders, but what could be really deleterious for like how you feel inside, or you could get in trouble and your disciplinary health. So then I think that maybe it'll help other people talk a little bit more, and I've heard some people say some really mean stuff behind other people's backs. So we might be really nice in here, but out there everything changes. So maybe
You can hear them right now out
yeah.
there.
So maybe social health would be a good thing to work on.
Yeah, so maybe more.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna talk through the lunch getting out. This happens every video. I'm sure it's getting picked up by the microphone. Just speak up just a little bit. They're being social. We've had a lot of questions on social health. Are your schedules overwhelming? What about conflict? Now, health class, Trisha. Do we need more?
I agree with Mwanashe. I think we do need more because we do groups projects in health and we also do it outside. And I feel like a lot of times there is a conflict and we are not able to agree like whose side, what should we do. And I think we probably need more practice and more skills to like deal with a conflict and more skills to work better as a group. So all of us are able to speak up, but all of us are able to like work together.
Yeah, get it. So maybe, sounds like over here you're saying more, but over here was, we do some good work, but maybe also more. Okay. Any final thoughts?
I was gonna say, I was come back what Deyaan said earlier about how we learned a lot of that in elementary school.
Yeah.
I think that practice makes almost perfect, and you can still always learn more, especially about conflict. We learned a lot about how to be social and how to make friends, but some people are still lacking that.
Hold on, we'll put a pause. Is that a conflict right now? That was a lot. That was a lot. There was a conflict right there. All right, Mwanashe, we totally interrupted. Go ahead, keep going.
So I was saying, so it might be helpful to learn more about how to handle conflict,
Yeah.
like in a healthy way,
Yeah.
if that's the right word to use, or how to be more social, how to not even make, that's not a great example, but how to make more friends, how to be
Strategies,
nice. Yeah.
practice for conflict
So it'll make
resolution.
people a
friendship.
little less
Kindergarten,
awkward, maybe.
We learned how to be nice to people and the golden rule, but sometimes that's good, but sometimes you need more than that.
Uh-huh.
Life's
Because
really
it gets
different in kindergarten.
complicated when you grow older.
You're different when you're 13 compared to being 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Five
solid
different
follow-up
babies.
over here by the purple leopards.
For a second, I forgot our name.
Or the pink leopards, yeah. Plus, Mwanashe used the word deleterious? Wow, I don't think I've had a 7th grade use the word deleterious, so nice job. Green beans, anything else? Was it vocabulary word last year? Nice. Any final thoughts on health class that you?
Yeah. So I actually, listening to what Ashmit and the purple leopard said, I actually am starting to lean more on that we should do a little bit more, like to help our social, because there's lots of kids in this class, not this class, in the school,
Yeah.
especially like 7th graders that needs to work on their discipline, and which could then impact their friends and maybe how good they do in class, because if they don't, like if they're not disciplined well, they could get like dragged off and everything else. So I think we should do maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. We can always do more. It's just an open-ended question. Ashmit, final thoughts?
No, I don't have any.
Yeah, you know what I'm doing with this card? I think both were great. I'm splitting it.
Oh.
I also like to smack them down there too, just for the effect. We're gonna split it because I want to go into the bonus even, and this is one of the more even matchups we've seen lately. So 2-2, if you can call that 1.5. We're 2-2 going in our final question, and our final question is a bonus question. Bonus. And it's always just for fun, even though all these are just for fun. This one is especially a would you rather for fun. First to act is our leopards.
Yes.
Purple leopards. All right, so here's the would you rather. Would you rather always be the funniest person in the room or the smartest person in the room? Would you rather be the funniest person or the smartest? Go ahead and let that sink in. These are always kind of connected, kind of not connected. Would you rather always be the funniest or the smartest? And I wonder if the word always matters. All right, leopards, who's up first? Remember, at home, they don't get to see these ahead of time, so we're putting them on the spot. That's the fun part of the debate.
Yeah, we can
Pass or answer? Answer or pass?
We will answer, please.
Okay. All right.
Trisha, you go first.
So I think both would be great, but I would honestly choose the funniest person because a lot of times there is stigma related to not necessarily smart people, but it would be nerdy considered. But if you are funny, you can have wit, and you are able to deal with hard situations by making it funny, making people laugh, or just like answering it smartly. So I'd say being funny can come with some smarts.
What a start. Wow. Okay, Trisha. Were you nervous about that? As we keep going, usually seventh graders become less and less socially awkward or nervous. You're doing great so far. Mwanashe, funniest or smartest person?
I actually said the opposite of Trisha. I'd like to be the smartest person in the room because I found that sometimes being smart is better, and if you're smart, then sometimes it actually works in with being funny. That sometimes you just find a random thing to say, like at home, I'm usually very sarcastic, and I'll like say something really randomly at the moment, and my entire family will burst out laughing, right? And so it's not that I'm the funniest person, because I know that's not me, and it's not that I'm the smartest person either. But if you're smarter, you might have more opportunities in life. And sometimes I feel like being the funniest person in the room can have its bad effects too. I was reading an article about empathy and like happiness and stuff, and that sometimes being overly happy or too empathetic and stuff can cause you to have symptoms of depression and anxiety. So I think being the smartest might be safer, but being the funniest would be nice too.
They're both good, right? They're both good.
Could I have a rebuttal of my own? Like,
Yes,
not necessarily a
you-
rebuttal.
Yes, you can. I can have a follow-up.
Okay. It's you can be smart, but it depends on kind of how you use that smartness. Like in later in life, or even now, if you use your smartness, but you're always like trying to prove people right and like being
Obnoxious.
Obnoxious, yes. Then it can cause people to not like you, and later in life you need to like if you're a people's person and if you're funny and people like to hang out with you, you will do better in life, honestly, because like you are able to gel well with people, and it's really important to work good with people when you're older.
So I guess we're both kind of saying that it depends on how you use
how you
this.
use one.
Of course it depends. That's the idea of the bonus question is it could go either way, right? Could go okay, so they're playing off of each other, funniest and smartest over here. Green beans, thoughts?
I'll go. So I would pick being the smartest because when you're like smart, you would be almost like set for life, and like while you're being the smartest, you can also be funny, just not the funniest. So you can like you can be like smart, like think of like a funny joke, like say like math. My favorite food to eat is pie, or something like that. Yeah. So like
Am I supposed to laugh?
It was a quick example from our show.
Oh my god.
Continue.
Some people hate puns, but some people say puns are actually a high form of intelligent humor. Ashmit, we interrupted. Keep going.
Being smart, you can have like that 300 plus IQ, and like
You can, okay.
you can think of funny things to say while you're like. So also being the smartest, you can also go to like say and when you're 18, like you can go to like great colleges and stuff, like Harvard Law School and stuff, and be like that guy.
Wow, that was solid, Ashmit. The ladies did have, the Leopards over here had a really solid start, but Ashmit's making some good points. Also, what if you're the funniest in the room? Would you be just kind of the clown, the class clown, or would you be looked at ever as a serious person that has real ideas? But I'm not saying that. We're just saying funniest person in the room? Smartest person. Ashmit says smart. Smart stuff matters. Deyaan.
So I'm agreeing with Ashmit. I would rather be the smartest person because first, being being smarter will help you later in life, and being called names and stuff, people can just not really take that in. So if you're smart, like being called dirty, so and because you would rather want to focus what's like your career and stuff than how people think of you when you're usually a teenager, and also being funny could really like distract the class and distract you as well from learning, and it could like maybe sometimes make or break relationships with the teacher as well, because the teacher might want to like help teach stuff, And I can think of one teacher who would really not like the jokes. So
No, actually, I like humor. You guys have a really good sense of humor too. I would say you two have a really solid sense of humor, and it works to your benefit. And I think that you have also some smartness. Is that the word?
intelligence.
Exactly. See? And that works to your benefit too. But you're right, I think some people would maybe be off-put from the humor. Yeah. Any final thoughts? Then we're gonna call the game.
Just like leave my mind. What was I gonna say? Something Deyaan said.
I'm glad you didn't mention which teachers wouldn't enjoy humor.
Oh.
Maybe it's just the off-task stuff of it. All right, but the future, it sounds like that's a really nice follow-up, that your smartness, intelligence, can help in your future. Final thoughts, this is now or never.
I remember. So I know what you guys were saying about being called a nerd and stuff, and I found that I've been called that before, and it doesn't really affect me because being a nerd isn't a bad thing. Sometimes it just means that you're smart and people know you're smart, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a bad thing to be smart, extra smart.
Right.
If people call you names, you can know they're wrong. It's just what you do with that smartness, being obnoxious, or if you use it to help change the world, or just change other people's perspectives on you.
What value are you bringing
Yeah.
to others?
So it does say it says the funniest or smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're the funniest person in the room, not necessarily you're the funniest person in the world and you always make a joke of anything, you can still be serious, but you have like you have ability to make people laugh even when it's getting serious. And I think that can really help, like not just like in colleges, like you don't always have to be smart, but like there's other jobs like you could also be a good maybe comedian, or you could work in other jobs. And I think being funny is like more like, you definitely need to be smart, but you can also be funny and smart.
Yeah, intelligence can show up in more than just academic. Music intelligence, artistic intelligence, athletic intelligence.
I have a quick technical question.
Sure.
If if it's the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, what if you leave the room and go to a different room?
I mean, like, if you're put in a room full of babies, would your intelligence just drop?
I don't know. I always have more questions.
I mean, like, would you forget how to walk all of a sudden? It's like, oh.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But it is a nice mental exercise. All right, bonus card and the game goes to our leopards, the purple leopards.
Good game.
I don't know. I liked what Ashmit especially said about intelligence helping you on the future. I really almost leaned here, but I think overall the whole game. I think early on, too, in the bonus question, we had a nice point where they were playing off of each other. Wit can be smart, or also it can be humorous. I don't know. Is that the right call? Oh, I just broke the hearts of Deyaan and Ashmit. Let us know at home. Somebody say that the green beans are the winners. Somebody comment. Anyway, we got to get these four back to class. Let's thank Mwanashe, Trisha, Deyaan, and Ashmit. Appreciate everything. Until next time, let's say bye. Take care. Happy holidays, too. Happy holidays.
See you.